Stand by to fall in, Polk County. This is today's veteran. Hello and welcome, and on behalf of everyone at the Polk County Office of Veteran Services, I want to thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Bryan Lacey, sitting in for Tim Kirkhart, and on this installment of today's Veteran, we talk about self-help services available through the Department of Veterans Affairs. Whether it's pharmacy refills, scheduling your next appointment, or emailing your provider, keeping you informed and having access to your provider is their goal. Joining me in studio is Suzette Maynard. She's a supervisory medical administrative specialist at the James A. Haley Veterans Hospital. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And also joining us is George Denby. He's a supervisory program specialist at James A. Haley Veterans Hospital. First timer on the show.
First time.
Both of you first timers.
Yes, it is. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Well, Suzette, talk to me a little bit about how you got involved with Department of Veterans Affairs and James A. Haley.
Well, I'm a retired Army veteran myself, and I started my VA career in 1996 in Texas. And then I came to Florida in 2000 and ended up at James A. Haley Veterans Hospital.
What'd you do in the Army?
I was personnel and finance.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And just like all of us, none of us live here. I mean, we're not originally from here.
No, absolutely, no. Mm-mm.
George, how about you? Talk to me about your military service and of course, how you got involved with James A. Haley.
So I started my VA career in 2008 when I retired from the Air Force. Spent 22 years in the Air Force as a medic. Excuse me. So started with the VA then, and with James Haley originally. I went on to Bay Pines for a while and then came back to James Haley. So I came back for the opportunity to work at the new Riverview Clinic. That was the reason I came back to James Haley.
Oh, wow. I just recently got a chance to visit the Bay Pines facility. Wounded Warrior amputee softball team was there this summer. And wow, I mean, for VA facilities, we have two of the most top-notch in the area with James A. Haley and Bay Pines, and of course all of our CBOCs in the local area too.
Exactly. Fantastic campus out there, that's for sure. And we each have our own set of outside or CBOC clinics for each facility. So and Riverview being the newest one is we're really proud of.
Talk to me a little bit about what you did in the military.
So in the military, so I was a medic. I spent the majority of my time. I took a little sabbatical to work at a language school where we taught English to foreign military.
Yeah.
I did that for about 5 years out of my 22 years. But the majority was as a medic. I have three Middle East tours: the first Gulf War, and then 2 in the Second War.
As with Suzette, thank you very much for your service to this country.
My pleasure.
And really thank you very much to both of you for what you do for veterans. Suzette, I want to talk with you a little bit. Talk to me a little bit about what a medical administrative specialist does.
For me, I'm the service chief of the Health Administration Service, which currently is comprised of 475 employees that we're responsible for. And it's in all our CBOCs and outpatient clinics. And as you know, we just acquired Lecanto up in Citrus County. And then, like George said, Riverview just opened. So, you know, the veterans start with us in enrollment and eligibility, and our staff is responsible for scheduling of the appointments. We have decedent affairs. Our staff is on the inpatient wards as well, and everything in between. And so we're very proud of them. It's that first contact the front lines. And so, like I said, they start with enrollment and eligibility to see if they're entitled to VA health care and what other benefits they're entitled to.
So in essence, you're saying it's a lot like basic training. You're going to see every one of us that come through.
You know, yes, we are. We're going to see you, and it's unfortunate, but we'll also help you at the end in decedent affairs as well to make sure that the families get the benefits that they're entitled to and the proper burials.
Now, George, you as a supervisory program specialist, what does that mean? What do you do?
It's pretty much, I liken the job to a small administrator. So basically, in my position, I have currently 30 plus employees, and we handle everything administrative for the clinic. So we handle travel, we handle eligibility, we do all of the scheduling for all of the medical services there. So it's pretty involved, a lot of communication involved, a lot of working with moving parts. So it's, and the challenge for us, and it's not really a challenge, but we're off of main campus. So we're kind of, you know, we don't have the luxury of having the full campus at our back. So I have to communicate a lot back with main campus, et cetera. So, but it's been working out great. We've been open since May. It's very busy, it's getting busier, and I think we're doing a great job so far.
Well, I want to start off first with a little bit about a clinical contact center. What exactly is it, and what do they do?
Well, this is the VISN 8 Clinical Contact Center, and the VISN 8 covers South Georgia, Florida, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. And we're the first ones to set up a massive clinical contact center aimed at first call resolution. And so what happens is, if you have a healthcare concern, you can call the 1-877 number and you will speak to a nurse, and they will triage and evaluate your concern. And if needed, they'll pass it on to a provider or a pharmacist, and you can do that at the convenience of your home, or if you happen to be at work and just want to call them, somebody will take care of your needs. And if they need to prescribe medications, they will, you know, and you can do, and it's free. It's a free service.
So as a veteran, I make a call to the center and say I have an ear infection.
Yes.
Okay. And we run through it. Talk to me a little bit about what happens.
So the nurse will ask you a series of questions, you know, to rule out things, or, you know, how long you've had it, you know, things like that. And they'll determine if you need to see a provider, or if you'd like to talk to a provider that's there at one of the clinical contact centers. You could talk to a nurse in Lake City, but the provider, because we're working virtually, maybe somebody from Orlando, and they pick up the phone and they talk to you, and they'll determine if medications are needed. And I just used it a couple of weeks ago, and in less than 40 minutes, the nurse had triaged me, a provider called me back, ordered my medications, and I was able to pick it up at my facility at the outpatient pharmacy.
So you can even get a prescription too?
Yes, and they can mail it to you, but if it's more urgent, like an antibiotic or something, you can go pick it up. Yes.
Wow, it's far more advanced than, you know, what the clinics used to be, you know, and waiting. How do veterans access this service? That sounds incredible.
So there is a 1-877 number, and I'll let you know what that is. It's 1-877-741-3400. And they can call there 24/7, 365 days a year. They're also open on holidays.
How cost effective is this program?
Very, because you are not going to be charged a copay for calling this number. Keep in mind, it's separate from the Mission Act, and George will talk about that later on in the program. But you will not be charged a copay to call this number.
Do the clinics replace my service provider? How does that work?
No, you still maintain your primary care provider. The good thing about this is that all the triaging and notes that are being done by the nurse or the provider, or even the pharmacist, if you happen to talk to a pharmacist up there, it's a part of your medical record and is shared with your primary care provider.
Now, George, she had said that covering the Mission Act on a previous show, we were introduced to the Mission Act from here on Today's Veteran. Can you tell me a little bit about the Mission Act, if you could, please?
The main part of the Mission Act that we're going to talk about for this episode was the urgent care clinic status for that. So basically, the part of the Mission Act, and one of the main parts of it, is that it offers an urgent care clinic option for you. So if a veteran wants to, instead of, if he can't get an appointment at the exact time, or if he wants to see a provider right away for a non-emergent issue, he or she can go to the urgent care clinic. Now, one of the stipulations with that is that this particular veteran must be currently enrolled with the VA and has to have seen a provider within the last 2 years to be eligible for this option. Okay, and also it would be a good idea if the veteran is aware of their priority group, because your priority group kind of determines a copay or not. And if a veteran is not sure of their priority group, they can just contact any enrollment eligibility center, either on main campus or at one of the outside clinics.
Now, what does priority group mean?
Priority group just means it's a status that veterans have based on certain parameters, income, eligibility, certain things like that, and it just allows the veteran to know. So, for example, if a veteran is in priority group number 1, which most of the veterans that we see are, they would be eligible for up to 3 visits at an urgent care clinic free of charge. After that, on the 4th visit, they would have a $30 copay.
George, how do I know if I'm eligible?
Okay, so if a veteran wants to know if they're eligible, they can call a number. That number is 1-833-483-8669, and they should be able to let them know.
In going with the theme of the community urgent care providers, how would I find the one nearest to me?
That's a great question, because not all urgent care clinics will provide that option. So we recommend that the veteran uses this website, and that's going to be www.va.gov/find-locations/. And that will be on the va.gov website, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the program also.
And before we break, I've got one more question. Let's talk a little bit about the service. Is it no cost like the clinic contact centers?
No, it's not. There is, for the urgent care clinics, there is a cost, but once again, it's based on your priority group. So like we said previously, depending on your priority group, your first couple of visits or your first 3 visits could be no cost, or they could be $30. So it's very important for the veteran to know what their priority group is.
Well, George, Suzette, we got to take a break. You guys stick around and take some more questions?
We will.
Sure.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more of Today's Veteran right after this.
VetCatch is our organization that helps take disabled veterans and bring them down here, do some fishing in Florida, enjoy the Sunshine State as much as we do.
We're going to post it on our website and make it available to any veteran to be able to apply, to be able to come out and do it with us. It's an opportunity for us to be able to recognize our nation's heroes, people who went out there and made that sacrifice, giving them something back once they finally made it home.
Welcome back to Today's Veteran. I'm your host, Bryan Lacey, sitting in for Tim Kirkhart. The self-service portal available through the Department of Veterans Affairs are designed to enrich your experience and help you make informed decisions about your care. Joining me back in studio is Suzette Maynard. She's Supervisory Medical Administrative Specialist at James A. Haley Veterans Hospital. Welcome back. Thank you for sticking around.
Yes.
And also George Denby, Supervisory Program Specialist, James A. Haley Veterans Hospital. Thanks for sticking around, George.
No problem.
As we were talking in the last segment, we talked a little bit about the Clinical Contact Center and the Mission Act and the urgent care benefit. Now, are there other ways to access health care services that don't require going to the VA hospital or VA clinic?
Yes, there is. There's also an option that's called My Healthy Vet. And this is an option that's available to our veterans to set up a My Healthy Vet account. And once they set this account up, it's kind of like a secure messaging system. They can send messages to their healthcare team. They can get answers back at a quick time as far as if they have questions about their medications, about minor illnesses, etc. They can send those messages in, and we'll respond back.
I think the most wonderful thing about that is a lot of time is spent previously on phones with whether it be the CBOC or whether it be James A. Haley, but with me, the CBOC here in Lakeland, I can fire off a message and say, hey, I'm short meds on this, Can you help me out? And it is a lot quicker, and it just, you don't spend that time on the phone waiting, and you have more time to get on with your life, to move on with your day, and it's an incredible thing to have for the veterans.
It's a very popular option, especially for a lot of our younger vets, who are used to using phones and social media, etc. So it's something they can use. They're already familiar with. It's very secure. We want to stress that. We take the privacy very importantly, so they can send those messages and get a response back accordingly.
There are so many things you can do with a My Healthy Vet account. Let's talk about a few of those.
Great. So some of the other things you can do besides just the basic questions, you can check your online scheduling manager. You can manage your appointments. You can check prior records, labs, etc. So those are some of the other things you can do as far as checking those and just communicating with your clinical team.
One of the things that is probably that leads us into this technology is the ability of having the account. How do you start the account on My Healthy Vet? Great.
So it's a great question. So to establish your My Healthy Vet account, you would go to www.myhealth.va.gov. Now that creates a basic account. What you would have to do to update that account to a premium account is you would have to go into the enrollment and eligibility office and see the release of information officer. They could assist you with that. Now at the Riverview Clinic where I work, we have two options for that. You can go to release of information, or we also have a library area, and we have a staff member there that'll help you, assist you with the computer, sit down with you, and help you establish your account.
Well, I did mine at the Lakeland CBOC, and they kind of helped me out there.
Exactly.
They didn't talk a little bit about what they can do at the CBOCs to help you get the account.
Right. So, for example, and I'll use my facility at the SoHi Clinic in Riverview. Like I said, we have a library area that's for veterans. We have computers set up, and you can actually come in. We have staff that are there to assist. We'll sit down with you. We'll walk you through the process of actually establishing your account, and then help you update it to premium.
Okay. All of us are not that technologically savvy. Unfortunately, I have to be due to a job. What do you say if you're old school and you just don't feel comfortable on the computer, and you need to access your prescriptions? What's another way you can get to that?
And that's a great question. So once again, depending on your area, where SoHi is located, we have a lot of older veterans. We have a lot of World War II veterans in that area, and they're not going to use My Healthy Vet as much as some others. So there is a number you can call. You can call the main number, 813-972-2000, and you can use the pharmacy's extension, which is 6767. You'll be given a choice of activating a prescription, order a refill, or renewing an existing prescription.
What about automated prescriptions. Is that available to veterans?
That is an option also, and I'm going to give you two numbers for that. This is for the prescription automated refill system, and that local number will be 813-903-4885, or you can call 1-888-281-5463.
As we had talked about My Healthy Vet, just another of the programs to help veterans. Another program is Vet Text. What exactly is it, and how does it help veterans?
Vet Text is a system that reminds you of upcoming future appointments. It could be 3 days in advance, 5 days in advance, things like that. So not only do they get the postcard to remind them of their appointments a couple weeks in advance, they will also receive text messages now.
I get text messages, I get phone calls, and I get the little postcard.
Yes, yes, it's a lot, yes.
I was a firm believer that if you were a lonely person, miss a payment, a car payment, and you would get all kinds of mail. But now that I get mail from the VA, I'm like, wow. My mailman goes, veteran right there. I like that guy.
Exactly.
Just one of the many ways that you're helping keep our veterans informed. So how do I sign up for Vet Text?
The system will automatically enroll you into the system when you go through enrollment and eligibility. It uses the phone number on file that you provided us.
Now, one thing that I want to talk about, Vet Text Open Slot Management. What exactly is that?
So this is something that we've started using in the past year. Open Slot Management, or OSM, allows us to notify the veteran by text that there has been a cancellation in the clinic and provide the veteran the option of moving his appointment date up. So whenever there's a cancellation, a text message will go out to let's say 10 veterans saying, you know, we have an appointment slot for Friday at 3 p.m. Are you interested in that one? And they can reply no. The first one that answers yes gets that appointment, and it'll cancel the existing appointment on file.
So Suzette, how far in advance will these notifications reach the veteran?
So Open Slot Management will only reach out 24 hours in advance. So if there's an opening in 3 hours, a text message will not go out. It has to be at least 24 hours. And what I'd like to mention is that the veteran can opt out of OSM at any time. They can just hit stop and they won't get any more text messages.
And I'd like you to touch on the fact that veterans, if they know they cannot make an appointment, talk about how important it is to cancel that appointment in advance to open up the slot for another veteran.
Yes, that's very important. So you can either call the clinic themselves and talk to a clerk to cancel the appointment, or when you receive that initial vet text reminding you of your appointment, it'll ask you to confirm yes or no. And if you hit no, then it'll cancel the appointment.
Getting close to the end now, is there anything else that you'd like to mention about how you can get informations without going to the hospital?
Yes, va.gov is a dedicated website to provide any updated information for the veteran. Very resourceful. It talks about your benefits, education, and other related issues that the veteran would be interested in.
So kind of recapping, if we could, technology has allowed the VA to reach out to the veterans, and really the clinical contact center is kind of the hub for that. Let's touch on that one more time.
The clinical contact center, you know, when it was set up, like we said, it was to do a first call resolution, not be transferred throughout and be put on hold. One of the things that I didn't mention is it also allows you virtual video care. You can talk face-to-face with somebody, one of the providers, if you choose to do that. The hopes was also to reduce the amount of calls that are going to the hospital or the clinics and reduce ED visits and face-to-face primary care visit for non-emergent issues.
Well, Suzette and George, I really appreciate you guys coming in and sharing all the information. I hope to have you back soon with any new programs or updates on programs. Thanks for coming in today and sharing the information.
Thank
so
you
much
for having us.
For more information, you can call the James A. Haley Veterans Hospital at 813-972-2000, or you can check them out on the web at www.tampa.va.gov. That's going to do it for this edition of Today's Veteran. I want to thank our guests, Suzette Maynard and George Denby. But most of all, I want to thank you for joining us. Remember, for help and information regarding claims, benefits, services, and anything else that you might need as a veteran or your family, you can call the Polk County Veteran Service Office at 863-534-5220 or log on to the Polk County website at www.polk-county.net. I'm your host, Bryan Lacey, and we'll see you next month.